Hey there! Welcome to this series of Salesforce concepts. In this video, we will cover Salesforce flows. This video is meant to help you understand Salesforce concepts while you are busy doing some mundane activity like driving. We recommend that you learn further details through Trailhead and Salesforce documentation. A flow is an application that automates a business process by collecting data and doing something in your Salesforce org or an external system. Unlike workflow rules, which always execute behind the scenes, flows can provide screens to guide users through your business process. Flows aren't tied to any one object. They can look up, create, update, and delete records from multiple objects. You build flows using Flow Builder, which is a point-and-click tool. Elements. These are the building blocks of flows. They represent individual tasks or operations that a flow can execute. Examples of elements include creating records, updating records, sending emails, and more. Resources. Resources are variables, constants, and other data types that you can use within a flow. They are used to store and manipulate data. Connectors. Connectors are used to define the order in which elements are executed within a flow. They visually represent the path that the flow takes. Flow types. There are different types of flows that can be used for different use cases. For example, screen flows can interact with the user through screens, while auto-launched flows can execute automatically in the background. Triggers. Triggers determine when a flow should start. Triggers can be manual, e.g., when a user clicks a button, or automatic, for example, when a record is created or updated. 1. Screen flow. Requires user interaction because it includes screens, local actions, steps, choices, or dynamic choices. Screen flows don't support pause elements. 2. Auto-launched flow with no flow trigger doesn't require user interaction. This flow type doesn't support screens, local actions, choices, or choice sets. 3. Auto-launched flow with a schedule trigger runs only from a schedule. This flow type doesn't support user interaction, screens, local actions, choices, or choice sets. 4. Auto-launched flow with a record trigger makes before save updates to the new or changed record that launches the flow. Only these elements are supported: assignment, decision, get records, and loop. 5. Recommendation strategy. Builds a personalized list of recommendations for users. When a user responds to a recommendation, that recommendation launches its assigned flow, used by Einstein Next Best Action. 6. User provisioning flow. Provisions users for third-party services. 7. Field service mobile flow. Requires user interaction because it has one or more screens. 8. Field service embedded flow. Requires user interaction because it has one or more screens. 9. Contact request flow. Requires user interaction because it has one or more screens. 10. Checkout flow. Used in Lightning B2B Commerce to create a checkout for your store. Requires user interaction because it has one or more screens. 11. Orchestrator. Used by Flow Orchestration to create an orchestration. An orchestration is a series of stages made up of steps. Interactive steps contain a screen flow and require user interaction. Background steps contain an auto-launched flow and don't require user interaction. 12. Evaluation flow. Evaluates custom entry and exit conditions in an orchestration. Uses the orchestration condition met output variable and discards values from any other output variables. 13. Loyalty management flow. Used to create flows that are triggered by loyalty program processes. Doesn't require user interaction. This flow type doesn't support screens, local actions, choices, or choice sets. 14. Managed content authoring workflow beta. Used to create an orchestration for CMS. Includes the M-content variant ID and M-content spaced input variables. A flow runs in user's context and running user's profile, and permission sets determine object permissions and field-level access. If the user's context doesn't have access to the record or a field, and the flow tries to update it, an error will occur. Bulkification. Interviews can be bulkified if they are all associated with the same flow. Flows can bulkify any element that performs a DML statement or SOQL query, or does something else external to the flow, like sending an email. If any interview fails, entire transaction fails and is rolled back. Transaction. Each flow interview runs in the context of a transaction. A transaction represents a set of operations that are executed as a single unit. Following are some of the best practices to follow. Plan out your flow before you start building. Build your flows in a test environment, like a sandbox or developer edition org. Never hard code Salesforce ID. Wait until the end of the flow to make changes to the database. Avoid creating records before the first screen in the flow. Control when running users can navigate backward. Provide an error handler. While developing, save early and often. Restrict data access via profiles and permission sets. Control data access with the subflow element. Test as many permutations of your flow as you possibly can. Avoid accessing external objects after DML operations in a transaction. Avoid mixing DML operations on setup objects, other Salesforce objects, and external objects in a transaction. Thank you for listening to this session. I hope you find it useful. I look forward to your feedback.